this video, I wanted to do something a little bit different and share some reflections, share some perspective. Think of this as like a diary of what it's like to be an entrepreneur at 25 years old. I think being an entrepreneur at 25 years old is a really interesting time of your life because it's essentially when the skills you've been developing for the last 5 or 6 years are really starting to show. It's when opportunities are being thrown your way left and right. And it's really where you're kind of gearing up for the big play, for the big move, the big chess move that you're about to make. And I especially feel that because, just to give you a little context and backstory, the first glimpse of entrepreneurship that I got was selling golf balls. I think I was 7 or 8 years old. In the apartment complex that we lived in, it was right next to a golf course, and the golfers would hit the golf balls over the fence that in between the two. And I would collect the golf balls that would be in the bushes and so on, and I would sell it back to the golfers. I was making like $200 a weekend at 7 years old, not bad at all. And then I kept getting these like subconscious, I don't know, it's from God, of course, it's a blessing from God, where I started a Minecraft channel, I started a Call of Duty channel, I started to learn marketing and how fun that was, generating attention and views online. And then there was just all these different things that happened throughout, all the businesses that failed, all the businesses that have succeeded. I got to build an agency to $50K a month. This was a solo agency in downtown San Francisco that I built while I was in university. And then I built a couple, consulting businesses to $40K a month, one solo, one with a partner. I've had some experience in the corporate world. I've gotten really far, being 22, 23 years old in the corporate world. There's, for a lot of people out there, for some reason, think that you can't be an entrepreneur and have a corporate career. It's really interesting. You could absolutely double dip, and it makes sense for a lot of people who are still developing and acquiring skills. You don't have to throw it all on the line and be a risky entrepreneur, right? Some people are wired that way. Some people, you need stability. You need, a clear, slow path where you can really focus and develop your skills. But nonetheless, I've had all these really interesting experiences, and I feel all my skills continuously developing and growing, and it's like an exciting time. Obviously entrepreneurship is never certain. I may go try 5 more new ideas that fail, but so what? That's the game, right? That's what makes it fun. And then that next idea is just going to be the one that hits it home or hits it big. So it's interesting. At 25, it's very exciting. Like, I wake up every day so grateful, and blessed for the opportunity that I have to be in the United States and, to be grinding and putting out ideas, putting out projects, packaging, working with these enterprise companies, working with all the amazing clients that I have, from the, creators that I work with to, again, the startups and enterprise companies I work with. It's so exciting. I'm like this sponge at 25 years old, just absorbing everything I'm learning from people who have 30 years of experience in a specific domain, and, learning from their mistakes and finding the best pockets and opportunities. It's so interesting. I'm a very focused entrepreneur. I don't feel like I'm an entrepreneur that jumps around from idea to idea too often. I've been running the same business for a very long time, among taking on different projects and so on. So I've always had that focus and that clarity. And again, it's just this, like, you feel it, right? It's all gearing up. It's all God's plan. Something's coming around the corner because I'm just consistently showing up, not only in my personal life, but in the work that I do. And a lot of it, for a lot of people that may be watching this, that maybe you can relate to what I'm saying, or maybe they're earlier in their journey. I always used to think that mindset wasn't what dictated a successful, or what made a successful entrepreneur. I remember being young and kind of catching the entrepreneur bug. This was like when Gary Vee was really popping off. And I remember getting frustrated when all I would see is like these people being motivational. I so desperately at that time just wanted the tactical advice, the tactical specialized knowledge, specialized information that would allow me to excel and grow my business. And it's interesting, now that I'm getting older, the more I realize that it's always been mindset. Like, mindset is what makes somebody successful. It's the one who's like obsessed with their craft. It's the one who's a little bit crazy about what they do. It's the one that has the mindset not to just wake up every day with this deep desire, this deep passion to become great, to build great products. It's always been mindset, and thankfully, the way I was raised, I think my upbringing has a lot to do with this. I grew up, so I was born in Syria, and when I was under a year old, I moved to the States. My dad came to the States at 14, typical immigrant story. And I had a really interesting childhood. There was like this duality to it, where I would spend the entire school year in California, and then I would go to Syria for 3 months every single year before, of course, the war. And I think this was like the heyday of Syria, by the way. This isn't how Syria is today, unfortunately. A war changes a country. It's so sad. I have a lot of cousins, a lot of family there. I visit Syria often. But during the heyday of Syria, life there was so different. It was beautiful. Like Syria was a paradise. So getting to kind of see what the United States is like, and watching how people live their life. The United States is a place of work, in my opinion. Like all you do is work here. Whether you're in the corporate world or you're an entrepreneur, or whether you're somebody who's doing something you hate, you have to work because there's bills, there's rent, there's a mortgage. That's just the culture and the lifestyle here. And that's why traveling is so important, because it exposes you to different perspectives, different ideas of living, different ways to live. That's why traveling can be really impactful in your life. But nonetheless, I had this duality of a childhood, and what it did is it made me grateful. So it's one thing to have a strong mindset, a disciplined mindset, as you're pursuing and trying to achieve your goals. But it's also another thing to be grateful for the opportunity that you have. We live in an incredible time with incredible tools. The phone in your hand is nothing short of a miracle, right? You can post a video today. One video changes your life. One video puts you on the map. One video puts you in a movie. One video puts you in a brand deal. One video gets you hired by a major company. Like, you just have to put the inputs and your life will change. But the reason I'm so grateful is a lot of people in other countries don't have the opportunity that we have, especially for anybody that's living in the United States or Europe or these types of countries. You have everything at your disposal to succeed. Like, imagine how crazy it sounds for somebody, in the past where technology hadn't advanced to where it is today, to tell them that you could be 3,000 miles away from your product and you could sell it through this magical little device called a laptop. Or you can post this video and it can reach 1 million people. This little computer in your pocket, like the phone that you have. And I say that to say that you can absolutely find success from the darkest, most difficult places of life, right? There's people that have come from war-torn countries and have become millionaires and billionaires and so on. So I don't say this in a manner that excuses your circumstance, right? Anybody in any circumstance can find success. That's a given. That's a fact. We've seen it 1,000,000 times. But what I'm saying is, a lot of people don't have the opportunity that you have. They don't have, sometimes people are geographically locked to a specific country. And that's so difficult, because how do you get around that? That's something that isn't necessarily in your control. And the opportunities that they have are so different. So it's just this idea of being grateful for the opportunity you have in front of you, and knowing that we live in a day and age where there's nothing off limits, right? Anything you want has been achieved. Anything you want to overcome has happened. People have done it. When people in the world were trying to break the 4-minute mile, it hadn't been broken or it had never been done before, right? Nobody's ran a 4-minute mile, sub 4-minute mile. And then this random guy came along. I forget his name. I should know this. I ran cross country and track in high school. But he came along, this random guy, and he pulled it off. He ran a sub 4-minute mile. And then what happened to the mindset? What happened to the belief around running a sub 4-minute mile? People had something to believe in. They saw that this guy can do it, so I could do it. It's possible. They believed that it's something that is possible. So what happened? Like 17 different people broke the 4-minute mile, or sub 4-minute mile, like right after this individual did. So, if you want to be a movie star, if you want to be a YouTuber, if you want to build a great service business or a software, like, people have already done the thing you want to do, right? There's never been a time in the world, I think, where it's not only opportunity. Like look back at history. All it was war and chaos and disease and famine and all these things. But now you live in an era where everything is at your disposal. You just got to show up, be a good person, build your relationship with God, take that part of your life serious, because at the end of the day, you don't really take anything with you. You don't take your wealth, you don't take your success. These are all things that are constantly on my mind. So making sure that my relationship with God is 10 out of 10, spot on. It's the most important thing. I'm going to have to stand in front of God one day. My goal is to make it to heaven. And when you have that belief of the unseen and the belief in God, like, it gives you this certain level of trust in His plan. Like, you have this trust in God's plan that things are going to work out for you, right? And it's not just self-belief, like I believe that I can put in the work to achieve this thing. It's also I believe that God can open doors for me and can give me these blessings of life. But he's not going to if you don't show up, right? Show up in your personal development, show up in your religion, and also show up with the thing that you're trying to start. So if you're trying to be an actor, you better be doing as many auditions as you possibly can. If you want to run a service-based business, you better be running ads, you better be cold calling, you better be posting content, and so on. So those are just some things I'm thinking about at 25. I'm so excited for what's to come. I have a lot of really cool projects in the works. I love the clients I'm working with, the companies I'm supporting. It's just an exciting, fun time to be grateful and to continue to pursue, right? To pursue being better. I think life is very dangerous when you're stagnant. Life is very scary when you're you're in a bedroom boxed into these four doors, overthinking, overcomplicating, overanalyzing. I think that's one of the biggest things I'm reflecting on is I wish, I got glimpses again of success throughout my life. The agency, I built it when I was younger. I was 18, 19 years old in downtown San Francisco. The consulting businesses I've been doing for a long time. But it's so interesting because I wish all the time that I wasted overthinking, over strategizing, trying to figure out the perfect vehicle of business. Like when you start, the road ahead of you is foggy. So why even bother stressing about the vehicle, or am I going to choose the right career? Am I going to choose the right vehicle of business to start? Am I going to choose the right product to sell? What should the name of my business be? Like these are things that people really get stuck on. It's like, no, just take the first step. Of course it's going to be foggy, it's going to be uncertain, you're not going to know what's in front of you. But through that action, through that consistent step forward, the next step always reveals itself, right? Like when I don't know, I use the actor example again. When you're auditioning and you're trying to make it, even if it takes you 5-10 years, like this is what you love, this is what you want to pursue anyway. Like if you don't try, nothing is going to happen. And if you audition 1,000 times and nothing happens, like you would have been in the same position if you didn't try. But it's always that 1,001, right? That 246, that 4,800 attempt at that given thing that you want in life that leads you to the result that you're looking for. And then once you make it, once you land that first role, now you have 15 more roles. Now you got companies endorsing you. I'm using the acting example because it's easy to understand, but this is the same thing in the corporate career. Again, not every company is toxic. Not every company is going to fit what you're looking for, right? Go to a different company. Next thing you know, you have an incredible colleague or incredible leadership at that given company who have 30-40 years of experience in the domain that you're learning, and they put you on, they give you an opportunity. You learn, you absorb, you're like a sponge, and you get that opportunity, right? Just by simply moving to a different company, your life can change. Just by simply starting a new side hustle or a new business, your life can change. And these are, again, common patterns and things that I've felt, I've experienced, and again, just so grateful for it. So I know this is a little bit of a different video. This is kind of like a reflection video of my journey and just the thoughts I'm having. If you guys enjoyed this, let me know in the comments. Let me know what experiences you're thinking about. What part of your journey are you on? What season are you in? Are you at the early stages where you're just starting? Are you a little bit, closer to where I'm at, being a little bit older, having some nice reps under your belt, some nice wins, some losses as well. The failures are a part of the journey as well. Where are you at in your journey? I'd love to hear. And for anybody that has an internet business, you have a startup, you're in the enterprise industry, and you're trying to leverage better marketing systems, better organic marketing systems, what I do is I fix the bottlenecks in businesses. So, if you're struggling to get traffic, struggling to get high quality leads, I have really good systems and processes that allow your business to break through those bottlenecks. And I'd love to share it with you. So if you're somebody who's interested in potentially working with me, you like the stuff I'm saying, you could always reach out. The way to do it is in the description. Just hit me up on Instagram and I'll personally respond. But again, I hope this video was insightful. I hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to making more, and I will see you guys in the next one.